This is one of those events where, as exciting as the main event is, the co-main event is almost more intriguing. We've got the undefeated Shavkat Rakhmonov taking on the undefeated Machado Garry. What are your thoughts on that matchup?
Yeah, man, it is interesting. Like, it's not very common to get undefeated fighters in MMA. You know, you see it a bit more maybe in boxing because, you know, sometimes you're not really getting the best fight in the best. In the MMA, you've got to go through the ranks, and that's just how it is. So to see two undefeated fighters, it's pretty rare to see. So that itself is exciting. But then you've got two exciting fighters at that. Shavkat doing this, he already has a title fight booked with Bilal, and then obviously Bilal got injured, and he's willing to take on an undefeated guy. So good on him for that. But yeah, really intrigued for this one.
What about you, Dan? What are your thoughts on Ian Machado Garry and also Shavkat Rakhmonov? Because I honestly believe that Shavkat's one of those guys who captures the imagination of MMA fans everywhere. Like, this guy could be anything.
Yeah. Oh, that's the intrigue about ultimate undefeated fighters. We've never seen them be beat. This is such an interesting fight because of the similar. They've had so many similar opponents. You know, Jeff Neal, Neil Magny, and then their last fight is like one of them. Ian Garry fought MVP. Shavkat fought Stephen Tontom. So they both have been fighting a lot of strikers. So it's a very interesting matchup.
It's a bit warm.
I'm getting really competitive here, guys.
Yeah, sorry, guys. No aircon in here.
Yeah, it's all good.
Well, luckily we didn't do it outside. We would have been dying.
But with Shavkat Rakhmonov, I mean, think about it. 18 fights, 18 wins, 18 finishes, 100% finish rate. And I remember there was sort of similar fanfare around the time Khabib stepped into the octagon, but he didn't have a finish rate that was anywhere near as impressive.
No, when again, he's got some of those finishes are submissions. So a lot. I think, is that something we're going to see? Is that something we're going to see? You reckon with Ian Garry, you know, he's going to watch that? I think Shavkat might have an advantage on the ground. So I'm looking forward to seeing, because I've got told he's actually got really good grappling. So you know, I bring that up because I think it might have to come down to that. I think maybe Ian Garry could give him some problems. We've seen him sparring. He's pretty good with his range, right, like Ian Garry. So to see this fight, I think, yeah, again, undefeated prospect, dangerous guy. I think he might be going for the submission. You know, even if he's grappling, this is what's exciting about these undefeated guys. It isn't, oh, he's going to grapple and it's going to be boring. He's a finisher. So even when he's grappling, he's looking for a finish. That's just how he's going to be very aggressive, even with the grappling. So very exciting fighter, and it's going to be a very exciting fight.
Well, let's hear what the Irishman had to say. I spoke to Ian Machado Garry only a moment ago, so here's my conversation with the future. Ian, thanks ever so much for your time on Fox Sports. Great to see you once again. How are you?
I'm good, man. It's good to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, not a problem. We haven't spoken since Anaheim, and my goodness, it's been a really busy year for you. You fought on that card in February. You had a fight mid-year, and here you are once again to close out the year. I guess this is the active fighter that Ian Machado Garry wants to be, right?
What I spoke about, 3 times a year, every year, for as long as I decide to fight.
Well, you're taking on Shavkat Rakhmonov this weekend, Ian, and it was sort of a late change, but Shavkat is a guy that a lot of fighters are seemingly wanting to challenge themselves against. You know, Jack Della Maddalena of our parish, of course, and Joaquin Buckley, another as well. How excited does that make you to be taking on a guy who seems to be the boogeyman of the welterweight division?
It's exciting because no one solved his puzzle. And when no one solves someone's jigsaw puzzle, it's an exciting matchup for those reasons. How is he going to approach the fight? What is he going to try to do to me? What am I going to try to do in the reaction? And how are we going to have that beautiful dance? I don't see a world where my hand doesn't get raised. I believe I have every tool to be able to frustrate him, manipulate him, deal with everything he has, and have a lot of success. So for me, 16-0, undefeated, undeniable, unstoppable, and the #1 contender in the world sounds pretty nice to me come Saturday night.
Beautiful dance is a great way to put it, and that's kind of what it is, right? It's undefeated versus undefeated. You couldn't put together a better welterweight title eliminator. But looking at Shavkat's game, right, he just seems to have that undeniable pressure that drowns his opponents. What I want to know is, how could you possibly conjure up a game plan that counteracts that?
Fight IQ, actions in the moment, reactions, that instinctual movement that you either have or you don't. The truth is, I don't need to do anything. I just need to go have fun.
Okay, 18 victories for him. 18 wins and 18 finishes. It's interesting, right? Because like there's this concept, and it's something that really fascinates me, right? This concept of fear when it comes to the fight game. And I think it's really interesting to see just how many fighters are upfront about that. Chael Sonnen spoke in advance of the last pay-per-view before he fought John Jones and the aura that man carried. Ian, is there an element of fear when you're coming up against a guy with this sort of resume?
What, a guy that's only won in his lifetime? A guy that every time he steps in that octagon's always won? Feels like I'm looking in the mirror. It's just going to be someone that I'm excited to compete against. Someone who will bring the best out of me. You know, my wife always says to me, every time she sees me train, she says, I'm excited for you to fight someone that people think is better than you because you will raise your level. She says, you are always just cruising. I'm excited to see someone take you out of first gear, second gear. Let's see if Shavkat can do that. Let's see if he is as good as everyone thinks he is, because realistically, I respect the body of work he's done. It's hard to put down or dampen or be negative anything that he's done in his career. 18 wins, 18 finishes is sensational. And fair play to him. But come Saturday night, 18-1 is all that's going to be. It's all that's going to be able to be said. 18-1. Ian Garry goes out there and upsets the bandwagon, becomes the #1 contender. 16-0 undefeated. This kid's good. He's beautiful. He's fast.
Well, let's be negative for just a moment, if you wouldn't mind, right? Because you're right in what you say. As impressive as the resume is, as impressive as the numbers are, there are moments that Shavkat does look slightly vulnerable. We saw that a little bit, I believe, in that Wonderboy Thompson fight. I know he said that he was injured in that fight, and he still managed to get the finish in the second round. But what deficiencies do you see that you might be able to exploit this weekend in Shavkat?
I don't know if there's... I wouldn't say it's deficiencies. I believe he has a pressure and a style that breaks people. And you see it. Wonderboy was touching the cage, trying to throw kicks, because Shavkat was just slowly creeping closer and closer and closer. He did not respect Jeff Neal on the feet. He got hit and he got cracked a couple of times. And I fought Jeff Neal. His punches, they're powerful. And then you see it with Magny. He just pressures. Truth is, just don't be there. Just move. And good luck. That's one of the best things that I have in my game. And it's absolutely evident and obvious if you watch any of my fights. My movement and my speed, the upset and rhythm and pattern that I possess. It doesn't matter who I'm fighting. I'll be able to lead the dance in that way. And sometimes people don't see it that way. You ask the person if they felt like they were in control of the movements when they fight me, when they're in that dance, and Shavkat's having that plod forward and he's doing his little dance and I'm moving on the outside. Let's see how much success he has, because I guarantee it's going to be me making the first move.
You say he's able to break people. You were able to break Michael Venom Page with your acumen on the ground. You fought Jeff Neal, and that was a split decision victory. I wanted to ask you, Ian, how do you rate your form heading into this one? How do you rate your previous two performances as you head into the biggest fight of your life?
You mentioned MVP and my whole body goes stiff and angry. Whole body stiffens up.
Why?
That guy should have been unconscious after 4 minutes. He should have been sleeping with the fishes. My whole body gets annoyed at myself. But anyway, it's just that competitor in me. I mean, it's hard. I've done everything I've needed to do in my career up to this point. 15-0, 15 victories against every single fight has been progressively better opponents, progressively more dangerous, more dynamic. Look, I'm 8-0 in the UFC. I've got this active longest win streak in the division. I'm breaking records every time I step into the octagon. I don't see any world that doesn't continue.
Ian, do you remember when we spoke in Anaheim, you outlined this championship plan for yourself? Take a listen. Well, how very exciting that could be.
Could you imagine a scenario? Sorry to interrupt. Could you imagine a scenario where it's Shavkat is the welterweight champion and I fight Shavkat and I win? Shavkat loses as though Ian Machado Garry becomes the welterweight champion of the world. Khamzat Chimaev is middleweight champion of the world, undefeated. Ian Machado Garry moves up, takes his though. GOAT status right there. That's the dreams. That's the level where I'm thinking about. That's the competition I'm thinking about and what I want to make happen.
Ian, I know that Shavkat's not champion at the moment, but is the fight this weekend the first step in realising that dream?
Everything seems to be lining up. It's almost like when you say it and God gifts it to you, it would be insane not to go with it and just enjoy. The plan I said to you in Anaheim is coming to fruition. Sure, it's not for the welterweight title against Shavkat, but I believe he would have won that fight, and I believe that me and him would have been next. Instead, it's for the #1 contender fight. There'll be a Bilal in the middle of that. We'll wipe him away. We'll take care of him easily. And then let's see. Let's see if Khamzat goes out there and beats Duplessis. Let's see if they give him that fight and see what happens there. Let's see. Why not? That's another fight, another puzzle. Me, that guy's dangerous. You know what I mean? What he did to your boy Rob, like, it's unfortunate, but that just shows the power he possesses, the aggression he has. I'd love that opportunity.
Okay, if it's not Khamzat, then do you still have plans to move up to 185 pounds? If it's Dricus Duplessis, do you fight him?
I don't know if Dricus is the same. I respect everything Dricus has done. You know what I mean? You can't. When you look at what he's done as of recent, he's been amazing. But I just don't know if Dricus would be would have the same pull as undefeated versus undefeated. Ian Machado Garry trying to go up and challenge Khamzat Chimaev for that middleweight title. That seems there's way more to that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't know if that would pull, but look, at the end of the day, this is all the fantasy. This is the stuff we put out there in the world and see how the world acts and what God gifts me with. I've got Shavkat this weekend. Once I beat Shavkat, I've got Bilal. Right now, they're my focus.
Okay, well, let's take a look at this weekend and give us a prediction there, because you said that you were going to make Jeff Neal quit. You said you were going to charm the snake charmer. What's the prediction this weekend against Shavkat Rakhmonov?
Prove to the world that I am better than everyone could believe. Best way to do that is go out and finish this one. Dominate him. Do whatever it takes to go out there and get my hand raised and leave people speechless.
Well, you've left me speechless here. Ian Machado Garry, thanks ever so much for your time. It's always a pleasure to chat, mate, and all the best to you this weekend.
I appreciate it. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much for your time, dude.
Yeah, this fight's going to be absolute fireworks. I can't wait for it. We're going to go to a short break and we're going to review the year that was 2024. I anticipated that we'd be a lot closer to the end of this darts game, but none of us have actually got to the halfway point, so maybe we're not as good as we thought.
Well, I'm sort of glad that you're wrapping it up, so now we can actually focus and get a winner.
And we're going to do a bit of yard work, you said, outside on the farm.
Yeah,
Is that
mate,
right?
there's plenty to do on a farm, you know what I mean? So I've got some stuff for you. It's a bit of a cow poo, whatever we need. But yeah, we'll make it. Maybe feed the cows, maybe throw the food in, or we can get the other end and clean what comes out.
I'll feed them.
Stay tuned for cow poo. As we go to the break, let's take a look at some of Shavkat Rakhmonov's finest moments inside the octagon, and our Musashi Top 5.
Dominant round for Shavkat.
Oh, he jumped on that choke again, and now he's on his back.
Now he's on his back.
Yep, the first time he didn't have a great angle. This time he's actually flat on his back.
He's got 10 seconds to survive here. Oh, he's tapped.
One-way traffic for Rakhmonov thus far. Six back into it in a short time. Well, there's the tap! Shavkat Rakhmonov.
Oh, guillotine. Rakhmonov, he's got a great guillotine. Remember the name, Shavkat Rakhmonov, with a huge win in his debut.
Oh, he's choking.
Ooh!
Oh, he's choking.
He's on it. He's on it.
I think he tapped with the overhand. He did. 17 up.
Put him to
17 down.
Oh! Spin kick sets him down. And now trying to end it.
Big ground and pound here. Harris. Oh!